What's going on, gentlemen?
Nothing, man. I'm having a good day so far. Good week. Blessed. You
Hmm.
know, uh, blessed to have family, man. That's what I can say, dude. Even after this weekend too. I've been working so hard. Going through a lot of things. Losing the mother-in-law and all these other things that have been happening behind the scenes. It was good to get out and just spend some time with family. Spend some
Yeah,
time with friends. I got to hang out with Greg and Alex and Sean.
that was
Got to see
nice.
my friend Jonas. So it was good hanging out and reconnecting with everybody.
Very cool. I got some sun this weekend, man. But one of the things about traveling with Chica, we do not relax. We are on the go, 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 go. So I like it, man. I love it. It was a fun time this weekend.
Oh, I bet. You saw the beautiful blue water, no caca water over there.
No, no Galveston caca water.
And to the Texas coast defense here, that caca water, that brown, stained, nasty water that we have over here, it comes from the Mississippi River and the current, right? So the Mississippi River empties into the Gulf of Mexico, and all that sediment and stuff just gets carried over here because of the currents, the way that the flow is.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for that, we'd probably have better looking water.
Have you seen the Red River up north? What is that? Texas, between Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's gross. It's not even a
Clay,
river.
dude.
It's not even a river. There's like nothing going through.
It's just red clay everywhere.
Yeah. Are we gonna
Greg
talk about how the
enjoying
fact
it.
that Ron Harper now hates me? Are we gonna talk about that?
God, no, I don't even know. Mike, we want to be respectful to our guests. That was horrible, man. Don't do that to Mr. Mitchell here.
Why is everybody
No.
stitching on me with Ron Harper? That's crazy.
Oh.
Let's get the show going.
Area 210, where the dreams don't fade. From the river walk nights to the Alamo shade. We rise together through the highs and the lows. Area 210, oh, it's the life that we chose.
We're rising together on a Tuesday game day. My name is Mike Jimenez, joined by Mike Mitchell Jr. and Joe Garcia back in the studio. This is the Area 210 podcast powered by PF Chang's La Cantera. We're going to go for about an hour today talking sports and pop culture. Lots of Spurs talk because the Spurs back in action tonight. It's the rematch, right? Are we going to have the revenge of the Thunder tonight? Spurs took out the Thunder in the Emirates Cup semifinals a couple of weeks ago. Tonight, back in action, playing the Thunder in back-to-back games. So tonight and then on Christmas Day. Weird thing about this, Mike, as we get into this game, and thank you for being part of the show, Mike, son of Mike Mitchell, one of my favorite Spurs player growing up. Mike Mitchell Jr. joined us for the fourth or fifth time. Thank you for being with us today. Is it insulting that the Spurs are 5.5-point underdogs, according to Vegas, home at the Frost Bank Center with a 21-7 record after beating OKC in the Emirates Cup semis?
Listen, I don't know how far these Vegas numbers get. I don't know the 2-point spreads, the 5-point spreads, how they decide it. But when you have a historic team like OKC, until they start really losing some games, everybody they go up against is going to be a 4, 5, 6-point underdog.
Well, don't get me wrong. I mean, Oklahoma City has been the class of the NBA this year. They have the best record in the league. For a while there, they were on pace to have the greatest regular season of all time. I mean, I'm sure they can still get there. But Joe, looking at that, Joe, do you think that maybe the Spurs could use this as bulletin board material? And Mike, I want to get your answer to this. Do you believe bulletin board material exists to come back and say, wait a minute, we beat them when money was literally on the line. We beat them on a neutral court. You're telling me that back home we're underdogs? I find it to be weird. By the way, we have to go through the injury report too. Half of the roster of the Oklahoma City Thunder is a game time decision. Crazy.
You know what? This is going to be the battle of the bench players, right? See who's secondaries, maybe even third string players are better. And that's going to be interesting to me because OKC has a starting five, right? And San Antonio kind of gets overlooked, because of our starting five as well, because all the attention of notably so is going to be on OKC because they have a better overall record, best record in the NBA. The Spurs beat them in a really highly contested fight there. And it was a battle. It was like a playoff atmosphere, and it was a great game to watch if you're not only a fan of Spurs basketball, but an NBA fan as well. And to see if the bench can carry the Spurs to victory tonight, I think would sing volumes of where they're at on their current trajectory, right? Because if
Mhm.
you can beat OKC's bench players, San Antonio shows that they have a deeper roster. And I think that will go ahead and be the telling sign for them as they move forward into the season, because you're going to have a deep bench, because you can't always rely on your starters, because injury is going to happen. You're going to rest players and all that, and back to backs. You need these bench players to show out. And I think that's one thing that has gone unnoticed a lot with San Antonio and their record and where they're at in the West is the bench play. And if you're a Spurs fan, that's something that you need to keep an eye on, especially tonight, if everybody's going to be out with injury and who's going to step up. It's fun to see these types of games, even though you might not have your starters in there. There's a lot to, unravel there. You're going to be watching this and you're going to be looking at what players are going to rise to the occasion. Is Sohan going to get some run out there on the court?
I would hope not. Just Jeremy Sohan going to get run. Why would you say, Joe? Joe, you were in the middle of a 2-minute long soliloquy. It was a great take. You were on point all the way through, and then you missed the landing by asking the question, "Will Sohan
I
be
stuck
playing?"
the landing because you know what? That's the topic of debate right here. Because Sohan, with him not playing and getting these DNPs, it's pretty much showcasing that, maybe the Spurs and him are looking to go ahead and part ways. Maybe they're looking to trade him. Something's amiss there. He's a product of the minutes, but if he's getting some playing time, it's rightfully so, he should, because if you're going to be playing second and third string players, he needs to showcase his skill set. You can't just have him sitting on the bench. I mean, what does that do to his trade value?
Well, he has no trade value. He has absolutely no trade value.
My.
Other than the fact that he's a restricted free agent and you can hold on to him if you wanted him,
He's
he
gonna
has
be
no
good for
trade
some
value
picks.
whatsoever.
He's
No,
good
you
for a
can't.
pick or two.
You might get an end of the first round pick, a pick 30.
2032 pick's gonna pay out. You get it for Sohan.
Yeah, I saw somebody say on Twitter the other day, trade him for a 2075 pick because you just never know what happens in the year 2075. But no, I mean, this is not going to be going down to the third stringers. It's not, because we saw this when the Spurs played the Thunder just a week and a half ago at the Emirates Cup semifinal. It was they tightened the lineup. They didn't expand it. They tightened the lineup, right? You only had like 8 or 9 players playing for the Spurs when typically they play up to 11 or 12. But look at the injury report. Tonight, Victor Wembanyama of the Spurs listed as a game time decision. Now, it didn't say that he was getting hurt or that he had gotten hurt. So it's not a new injury. Basically, they're waving their hand up and saying, look, man, we might load manage him today because he missed 12 games with that calf strain. He's been back 3 or 4 games. He's been playing off the bench, getting 20, 22 minutes per game on restricted minutes. Maybe, just maybe, this is the time for us to kind of just rest him for a little while because he's had a lot of run, especially on the road, not a lot of games at home.
So what are you going to do? You give him a Cancun pass today? Load management?
Hope so. And I wouldn't be mad at it. Look at who's going out for the Thunder, right? The Thunder, by the way, 26-3. At one point, they were 24-1, which means they've lost 2 of the last 4 games. Okay? Remember Rocky IV when Rocky finally hits Drago in the face and he's bleeding? He's a man. He's not a machine. That part of the movie, Mike Mitchell Jr. knows that part of the movie. That's what we have found out after the Spurs punked them, right? And after the Minnesota Timberwolves did as well. Now you look at them. They're a man. They're not a machine. Chet Holmgren, Usman Jang, Andrew Wiggins, Hartenstein, Alex Caruso, all game time decisions, and half of those guys missed the last game. So, Mike, is this team, in fact, a man and not a machine?
Well, definitely. And when you look at that team and you look at our team, the Spurs have the one team that I feel like matchups matter that could give them a hard time in any day of the week, right? If the Spurs come out and play their game against the Thunder, they can give them a hard time. And I think it just comes down to matchups. They're strong at the same places the Spurs are strong, right? Their weaknesses show up in similar areas. So I just look at a team like that, or a team that has a lot of players that just have, for lack of a better word, that dog in them, like Anthony Edwards, Julius. Those are the teams that the Thunder struggle with. When you just put out some guys and you say let's line up our 5 and your 5 and see who's better, most of the time the Thunder are going to be better.
The Thunder are a very, very deep team. I mean, this is the type of team that is well constructed. They draft very well. They have perfect trades where they right now the number one odds to have the number one overall draft pick in this upcoming draft is Oklahoma City. Okay, because they hold on to the Clippers first rounder as part of the Paul George Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trade from years ago. Kind of crazy. They also have the ability to have another top 6 player who could be that guy from Brennan High School as well, right? I mean, in theory, it could be. You look at this team, and they're very well constructed. They're a deep team, but for some reason, it's all about matchups, right? And you have to ask yourself the question, okay, who's the better point guard, right? Okay, well, you look at point guards and you go, okay, well, Fox versus SGA. SGA is an MVP candidate, but I don't think there's that much of a drop off. You know, Fox is a former All-Star himself, right? Who's a better big guy? Is it Wemby or Chet? Well, Wemby is a better big guy than Chet. You know, Chet might be defensive player of the year, but we all know that Wemby's better. It's because of it might be because he doesn't play enough games, right? You look at the team though, and you go, okay, Caruso is a great defender, but so is Castle. And Castle has more of an offensive game. You might look at Hartenstein and go, okay, well, he's a good big guy, but we have Cornette. You know, so it's almost like we have an answer for every single one of them. We just did not realize that until the Emirates Cup semifinal when it was all toe-to-toe together. Tonight, though, I found interesting, Mike, most of the injuries are calf-related. What's that all about?
There is something there. I was talking to a good friend of mine, and we were looking at how many of these Achilles injuries you see now in today's game, and I said it. Of course, back in the day, it didn't seem like you saw it as much, but I had to tell him that's because guys didn't come back from it, right? You tore your Achilles, and that was pretty much your career back in the day. Right. Versus these guys still have the chance to come back. But it seems like you are seeing it, and I wonder sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know if it in the quest to make shoes lighter. In the quest to the different workout regimens that the guys stay on in the off season and different things, the quest to have the ultimate athletes. I don't know if it's doing some kind of detriment to these guys as they're going out in the court, because you're seeing a lot of these lower calf strains, right. Ankle injuries where it didn't seem like you saw this much a few years back. So I think there is something there to it. I think it's something that the league needs to take a look at, figure out whether it's with these shoe companies or strength and conditioning coaches, and just kind of try to shore that up, because last thing we want is for some of these, I mean, it's taken out some of the best players in the league, in recent years. And some guys, like a Kevin Durant, where his game is predicated on his offensive skill set, they're getting back out there, but you're seeing some of these other guys with these injuries kind of fall off a little bit.
Look at this, Tony, Mike. Look at what they're saying here. Tony Ornelas says, bring back the high top. And you know what? That could be something said from the days of old, from the 90s, early 2000s. The high top was a thing. And you didn't have these types of injuries you have now, but back then too. Nikes, when these players were wearing Nikes, Adidas, whatever on the court, they were made with leather, and those shoes were heavy. They were not light, but nowadays everybody's going for the foam shoe, and because it's lighter and whatnot, it gives them more mobility. But at the end of the day, if you're giving up mobility over being a little bit safer, I mean, you could just go ahead and add some more foam to the top of that shoe to go ahead and support the ankle a bit, and maybe we won't have these types of injuries. That's just a thought.
I mean, part of it has to be that they're trying to make themselves faster, right?
Of course.
And I'm pretty sure you're not as explosive, you're not as fast if you're wearing those clunky
Timberlands
shoes, right? Because I mean, you're right, but I mean, you look at it back in the day, back when your dad played in the 80s, predominantly in the 80s, right? The travel situation was not as good as it was now. Heck, half the time they traveled commercial, right? The hotels weren't as nice. The nutrition wasn't as good. But for some reason, these players were able to play 80, 82 games without a problem. And they fought through injury. They battled through injury. And I think part of it is that these players have gotten too fast. The game has changed to the point where they're literally burning their shoes out. We've seen that happen before. We've seen players who've literally busted through a shoe. And we're like, now, how are they getting ankle injuries? How are they getting calf injuries? Well, of course, if the shoe cannot contain them, obviously there's an issue there. It's like in football, when you see these certain fields get people's ACLs and takes them down, there's something to be said about that. I mean, and I don't, and would the NBA ever consider going back to the high top days, or they're going to be okay with these guys getting out, missing 20, 30 games a year? It's crazy.
I'll tell you what. I am a fan of the high top. I used to play in it. I got a pair of Kobe's before I stopped playing basketball and was like, I'm never going back.
Really?
The advantages that you feel just being able to free flow, run, move, jump, stop playing. It didn't seem like you were losing the ankle support, but I tell people I had a light tape job every time I played in a game. So I at least had some tape to support the ankle, which a lot of the guys do. But it doesn't work the same when you have it taped and you've got a high top on. You got that
Right.
extra layer of support. On tape, did I look like I moved different, ran different? It didn't really look much different. I could feel the difference, right? I could feel a huge difference in being able to wear that low top, being able to move. As a matter of fact, even now, if I pick up a ball and go just shoot around with some friends, I still wear Kobe's. I just it just is a shoe that works for me. The mentality, I will say, of guys back in the 80s and 90s, they knew they could not miss time. Coaches didn't wait for their stars to get back in the lineup. If a guy
Right.
got hot and he got out there on the court and he started playing, that was his spot. The entitlement, and I'm not saying it's a negative thing, right? When you're paying a guy 40 million, you put him on the bench to get healthy, you better get back out there when you're
Yeah.
well enough in play. But then it doesn't give that incentive to make sure, okay, I got to be careful because the guy behind me had a couple good games. I mean, you see it all the time now. A guy will get hurt. The reserve will come out, have a 30-point game, have a 40-point game, go back to the bench. Now his minutes might increase just a little bit, but he's not getting that starting role. And back then, I'll never forget. Even with my dad, Michael Russell, Campy Russell was the Cavs' leading scorer. He got hurt. And my dad's second year, and rest was history. My dad got in that position and never gave it back, right?
Yeah.
Today's game has changed that mentality. And sometimes I think that has something to do with it, right? Guys popping up on the injury report, load management. And I hate to sound like the vets when you hear them talking about it and they're all like, well, back in my day and this and that. And yeah, the guys have gotten like more explosive and stuff, but we had guys that could do it too. It's just, it was a different era. And I think there is something to it.
Hey, Mike, I was going to ask you a question. I remember back in the day, some of the stories that abound about your father is how strong he used to be. Like he had that scary old man strength. You know what I mean?
So I tell you, I had the pleasure of being at the Alamo Dome when the Lakers were coming to play. And Magic Johnson, at this time, he was the team representative. He was in that kind of like upper level management level, and he was in a suit. And he comes walking out, and my dad was, 6'7", 6'8", big guy, big hands. And I remember Magic coming out. At that time, he was the power forward Magic at that time. I'll put it that way. And he came out the tunnel, and he walked over. He shook my dad's hand, and for at that time, a lot of guys just nodded and kind of walked by. So I was super impressed right then because it's like I'm looking like that's Magic, and he's stopping to say hi, right? But then he turns and looks at me and says, "Do you have any idea how strong this guy was back in the day?" He was a small forward, but we had to guard him with power forwards because he was just much more strong. If you put a small forward on him, he'd just bang him down low, shoot his turnaround jump shot every time. That was my first insight into like, okay, there's something to this. I remember even getting older and we're doing all these workouts in the gym. My dad retired and he's, almost 50 years old, and he comes into the gym, bench presses 300 pounds, hadn't been working out, just naturally just strong, right? But to his credit, 13, 14, 15, growing up in and around farms in Georgia, that old farm strength, it translates. Picking up those bales of hay, throwing things, it translates. Anybody that's ever played against him will tell you he was a strong guy.
Look at your dad's stats, by the way. I'm looking at them right now. When he played for the Cavaliers, played 80 games, right? First season, right? Started all 82 his second season at age 24. Started all 82 the next season. Somehow at age 26, he played 84 regular season games.
He got traded
because of a trade. He was the league leader in games played that year with 83 games, Joe. Averaging 36.5 minutes per game. His last season, his all-star season with Cleveland, averaged 39 minutes played per game. Then he comes to the Spurs and starts 79, starts 82, starts 82. I mean, the guy, we talk about Harrison Barnes being an Iron Man, right? Being we affectionately call him the Honda Accord, right? Because
Toyota Corolla.
Toyota Corolla. Sorry. Whoa. Shame on me for getting that wrong, man. We call him the Toyota Corolla because he's very reliable. All right. But here's the thing, though. Between the two, Harrison Barnes and Mike Mitchell Sr., with all due respect to the Toyota Corolla, Mike Mitchell Sr. was a lot more flashy than Harrison Barnes was back in the day.
So
and
we
by the
got
way,
an incoming super chat.
by the way, and Mike Mitchell Sr. could bench press Harrison Barnes.
God, he could, man.
He was a strong dude, man. He was my favorite player growing up, man. He and Alvin were my guys, man. Everyone was all about Gervin and all that stuff. No, man. Give me some Mitchell. Give me some Alvin along the way. But hey, real fast. I know we have super chats coming in, but real quick. The thing about Wemby not playing today, you can hear the chatter. We're already hearing it on the chat right now, powered by PF Chang's La Cantera. The chatter right now of, come on, man, you can't be injury prone. You can't be this, you can't be that. Do you think the Spurs, if they sit him out as load management, beyond all that, did he go to Paris for a funeral? So maybe you just sit him because his body is a little bit tired right now. Your thoughts, Mike?
I think you always have to be, anytime you get over 6'10", you got to be cautious. You got to be cautious. Even as somebody that I admittedly just said, old school, playing all the games, 82 games a season, you got to be cautious because those guys, just think about the pressure they're putting on their bones just walking, right, at 7 foot. You got to be cautious. I would rather, especially with him, where it's shown, yes, this team surprisingly has been able to win games. You're not winning playoff games without Wemby. Not at that, not at this level. Not anything past the first round. So you don't want him peaking right now at the beginning of the season. If he's out there, if he's healthy, I'll take it. You want him March, April, when you start getting into those games that really matter. You want him to be available out there on your team. So I think that they're doing a great job actually with him in that regards. A player that size, out of shape. If you go through the league and if you think about times where people get hurt the most, where it's season-ending injuries, it's typically after they had something little and they're out there, right? Because your body is going to compensate. If your right ankle is hurt, your left side is pulling, your right side to make sure you can make up that distance for those plays. So I think they're doing a great job. Anytime you have a player like that, you want to bring him along a little bit slower because think about Yao Ming. Talented, skilled, kept getting his lower body hurt, eventually ended his we lost 3-4 years that he should have been still playing just because of those lower body injuries. So,
and it's possible that if he had a Greg Popovich as a head coach who believed in the load management, who believed that at the end of the day, a regular season game on December 23rd doesn't matter. It's what happens in April and in May. Joe, you were showing earlier that
can I make a comment there?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Was that a compliment for Popovich right there?
Right?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, again, he was the GOAT. But what's that old saying? That is it a Batman saying? If you stay around too long,
you become the villain.
You become the villain, and that's what happened with Pop.
So we had an incoming super chat that we're going to address here real quick. This is from Mario Cavazos.
Mario Cavazos being a jackass, right?
He's being silly because this is a thing, right? He says, "How is the Kobe versus Castle comparison going?"
Want to do an on-court comparison?
That's what I was going to tell you because the thing is that you said these things yesterday about Kobe, which you're not going to get into. And the other thing is, there was a comparison that Matt Lerma, one of the listeners, great friend of ours, had put a comparison to, the Lakers kind of comparison over to what the Spurs big three have, and the Kobe was in there in the mix as well as Shaq, and he was kind of comparing Kobe and Shaq to like Castle and Harper, that kind of thing. So it all goes together, but yeah, we're not going to address that, Mario. But we appreciate the 199.
We appreciate you being an instigator, right? When it comes to it all, it's funny because you look at the Kobe versus, and Mike's probably standing there going, "I wasn't on Twitter yesterday. What the hell happened?"
It's a good thing you weren't on Twitter yesterday. It's a good thing.
First of all, I was 7 tequila shots deep when I tweeted that.
Oh no!
As
you would have said that without the tequila.
As a sober, level-headed man, I will say this with my chest out. Meant every word I said. Sober, drunk, I believe Kobe was a bad person.
Oh,
Sorry.
my
He may eventually have become a family man that he was towards the end of his lifetime. But I believe that girl in Colorado.
Oh.
Let's go. Let's move forward. But as far as the comparisons, let's do the on the court comparison. It's interesting because I think that we think of these star players like whether they be Jordan or Kobe or LeBron James, we believe that they came out of the gate just rocking and rolling, man. Like they were Shaq or Duncan came out of the gate. They were winning playoff games because we remember the glory years of them, right? We remember the 5 chips that Kobe won. Most of them with Shaq, a couple with Paul Gasol. We remember the Heatles. We remember Michael Jordan going against the Pistons and finally dethroning them and all that stuff. We remember all that, but we don't remember the 6 to 8 year buildup to all of that. And I think that if you look at that comparison of who Stephon Castle is as a player right now compared to what Kobe is as a player right now, you can make an interesting comparison. But I don't think their games are similar, though. Mike, who do you pinpoint as the doppelganger, the NBA basketball doppelganger, past or present, of who Steph Castle is? Because I can't pinpoint it yet. Everyone wants to say Kawhi, but I'm not there yet.
I'm gonna go with the bad boy Pistons. You just put them in my head. I got like a Joe Dumars. You can switch him out, play defense on places. When he gets going, he really gets going. He can be your number 1 option at Spurs. I think of him like a Joe Dumars type.
Mike, I love this sometimes. Remember when we had Frank Harris on this show, Joe, and I said it's kind of scary that I think so much like Frank Harris? Mike, you stole the player that I was going to say. I was doing the lead up, the hemming and the hawing, and I was going to come back and go, you know who he is? He's Joe Dumars. But you took it from me. That's a great comparison because Joe Dumars played opposite another star Hall of Fame point guard in Isaiah Thomas, right? They were an incredible backcourt. Joe Dumars, though, he could take over the game. But back in the day, what did you know him for? You knew him for his defense. He would take out the opposing 1s and 2s. He would swallow them up. And the crossover that he had was just as good as Isaiah's. Like his handles were elite. He could find his way into the lane. He was a tough player. No one talks about how tough Stephon Castle is. That guy is tough. Like in NBA standards today, 2025, 2026, that is a tough player. And they don't give him the superstar calls. Mike, wait till they give him those calls. Wait until he gets those calls.
Yeah, look at what happened to him against the OKC. He was out there with the bloody nose, busted lip, like he got no love from the refs, none whatsoever. But his face told a different story, We do got a super chat incoming here, and it's from I'm Still Here. So here comes the money. And it's I'm Still Here, number 10. He's joining us from YouTube. Thank you for the $2 super chat. And he says, please, he goes, Yao was 100 pounds heavier. Apples and oranges. And this is the thing with Yao that everybody forgets. His shortened career came because of knee issues that he had, yes. But more importantly, the problem that shortened his lifespan was his feet. He kept getting those micro fractures on the bottom of his feet. And it didn't matter what they did, how they tried to change him a little bit as far maybe his game a bit. I think he tried to even lose weight at one point, and he was just a heavy guy. It didn't matter like how much weight he was going to lose. You can't change the frame. And Yao Ming and I'm Still Here has a great comparison there because if you compare Wemby to Yao wasn't as flexible or as athletic as Wemby is. Remember when Yao could go ahead and just like punish Shaq, and Shaq is a big guy. Yao Ming, he had some power to him for a man that size and being in the league. I mean, he could back down Shaq like nothing. Shaq even said he had trouble with Yao. Yao was a problem in the paint, but the problem with Yao is he just isn't the same type of player that Wemby is. Wemby is just on another level for a man that size.
When I was comparing the two, my comparison stems from how many guys over 6'4" have we seen, 7'4", excuse me, in the league that have a wide skill set, right? If 3 points, if guys over 7 foot were allowed to shoot the 3-point shot back then, trust me, I've seen it in practice. Yao could do it, right? He can score inside, outside. He had a little bit of handle, slower reaction time. I agree with you, Joe. But the comparison was just size and skill set. Yao's lower body itself was 200 pounds. I think Wemby weighs 200 pounds, right? So yeah, I definitely get that. The issue though is at that height, it doesn't really matter necessarily the way it plays a factor, but at that height, those foot injuries, those knee injuries, trust me, they take longer to heal. That's the comparison there. I'm taking Wemby all day over Yao, even though I felt like for the time he was one of the few players that could give Shaq fits. Just because that upside that Wemby could provide, defensive quickness, being able to switch out. Yao didn't have that foot speed. He couldn't do that, and Wemby can. But I do worry the same thing. If you break a foot at 7 foot, it's going to be a long recovery period.
And it can keep breaking in that same spot because it's weak.
Because Mike, you mentioned earlier, you said the compensation that your body does, that when you have an injury, you're trying to play through an injury, you compensate other places, and the next, whatever bone is connected to the next bone is what's going to get injured next. We have super chats coming in, but before we go into the super chats, by the way, because they're getting really crazy on the super chat powered by PF Chang's La Cantera, we gave a player comparison to Castle as being Joe Dumars, which I love. That's a great comparison, and there's no disrespect to Castle. Joe Dumars is a great player, man, back in the day. And for those of you who are too young to understand who Joe Dumars is, probably if you're 35 and younger, you're like, who the hell is Joe Dumars? Go to YouTube, look up some highlights, and you'll be like, oh my God, that's Castle. I'm trying to pinpoint Harper still. Dylan Harper, because I'm looking at Dylan Harper, and every time I mention the name of who I think it is, everyone on the chat gets pissed. Because I look at him and I see a young DeMar DeRozan. I also see the Cade Cunningham. I also see he's basically the Venn diagram to me of 25% DeMar DeRozan, 25% a player like Cade Cunningham, 25% a player like maybe a James Harden, and 25% his own dad and Ron Harper. But I see a lot of DeRozan in him, and people don't like hearing that comparison. But DeRozan fills the stat lines. But he's a 25-5-5 guy, a 23-8-8 guy, like day in and day out. But the difference is, this is where the comparison stops with them. Harper's a better defender than any of those guys I mentioned. Thoughts? Give me a player comparison for Dylan Harper.
That's tough. I'm still figuring out the player comparison there as well. I can kind of see, right? Dylan's three-point shot is still evolving. We'll put it that way. He can hit it, but then sometimes it's streaky. It's streaky. Definitely, I could see if I'm hearing you right, like getting into the lane, he has no problem. Mid-range shot is effective. And people forget DeMar DeRozan was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in Toronto, he might have finished top 5 for MVP once or twice. Serious player in this league for several years. People only remember what you do lately, though, right? And playing in Sacramento, it's easy to forget about folks. But even when he was,
I think he lost the audio.
Yeah. Oh, we're still here. We can go in the super chats as well.
Sorry,
you're back. You're back. Okay. We'll get back into that topic. We'll do the super chats real fast. I'm still here. Who we believe is Matt Larimer, right? Have we confirmed that Matt Larimer is his burner account?
Yeah.
I don't know. After reading this super chat, I don't think it's him. It says Cobra Kai leg sweep leads to a 12-game vacay, leads to getting out of condition. Logical move, keep him out of games. How does he ever get into condition? Shaking my head. Well, you get into condition by not getting hurt again. I don't know what else to say. We appreciate the super chat, the support. I don't know. That's either a shared burner account for Matt
Could
Larimer,
be Drew Show trying to be nice.
Because Drew Show has coming in and out of the show. We kind of booted him out for a little while, then he came back in and was really friendly with the super chats. But like an FBI analyst who reads the way that things are phrased,
the verbiage,
the use of the caps and whatnot.
Yeah,
that might be Drew Show. And if it is, welcome back, Drew.
Yeah. And here we got another one, incoming super chat. This one's from Elias. Thank you, Elias, friend of the show. He says Wemby isn't even Batman. He's Alfred to Castle's Batman and Harper's Robin. And we got other incoming super chats to get addressed.
But you know what? Isn't that a good thing? That was the point of last week's show, Mike. A little FYI. That was the point of last week's show, was saying that Wemby does not need to be generational for this team to win playoff games, because the team around him has been assembled so well and everyone's taking the leaps. Harper was NBA ready from week one, day one. You have Castle, who's becoming a future all-star. You have Fox, who's playing at an elite level. He's in his prime. You have everybody else. Cornette. You have everybody behind them all. The depth. Vassell playing well. Barnes playing well. Champagny knocking down shots. You have a healthy team, that it doesn't have to be where it's Wemby carrying everybody to the promised land. It's now he can be part of a team, and he can just be an excellent player. It doesn't have to be a 30, 15, and 5 guy.
Yeah.
And I think the advantage of having him, if he's in the lineup playing now, to your point, is close moments, understanding how to get over the hump to win those games. I think he's going to need to learn that for the playoffs, right? And you construct a team to be able to bear that load when your key players are absent. So if you think about teams throughout history who have had huge winning teams, yes, there's some teams where you look at Jordan where he played the whole time, so you never got to know whether that team was going to be good without him or not. But even when you look at like Golden State, and when you had one of their big three go out in years prior, they were able to win games with the other guys on the court, right? So you want that. That's your purpose and goal, and that's what you want to see if you're a coach. If you're Mitch, you want to see those guys step up when Wemby's out of the game, especially earlier on in the season like now, so you know what you have later on in the season when those times arrive. Then you pair that with a player like Wemby, and it takes you to the next level. If you don't win these games now, which we've seen how the Spurs used to lose games, very close games just a few years ago, right after we drafted Wemby, then your team is not going to make it into the playoffs, which they've already shown us that.
So we have an interesting comment coming in here that I want to get into. Well, I'm Still Here comes out and says, what foot injuries, knee injuries? He has none. Okay, so talk about the injuries that Wemby has had over the time. Says keep him out and let's see, keep him out of safe, may fail him. Same logic. Yeah. The one that I want to get into is I'm Still Here. Thank you so much for the chat, by the way. Welcome back, Drew Show. This Matt Lerma saying year 2 Castle is better than year 2 Kobe. Now, not to be a hater, but if you want to compare, have a perfect comparison between the two, you have to compare year 2 Castle to year 3 Kobe. Kobe went straight from high school to the NBA. Castle had 1 year at UConn where he won a national championship. So if you want to make a comparison, a fair comparison by age and by level of experience, you have to compare Castle year 2 to Kobe year 3. What do you think about that, Mike?
I fully agree with you. I'm biased when it comes to Kobe. Let me say this up front. His dad was playing over in Italy when my dad was playing. I got to meet him as a kid. I will tell people at 9, 10, 11, I did not see the 16, 17-year-old Kobe coming. The leaps that he took in about 4 or 5 years game-wise, tremendous. His work ethic shot through the roof, right? Mm-hmm. Just shot completely through the roof. If you're comparing, it's more than just, and I know it might sound cliche with the Mamba mentality, his thought process and how he approached the game, I haven't been around Castle enough to see, but I just haven't seen too many players like it. I mean, you could be playing a one-on-one game with Kobe just off to the side, and if you mention the score, his whole face changes. Mm-hmm. His whole approach to how he's going at you changes, and he didn't just want to win the game by a point or two. He wanted to demolish you, right? And I'm not saying that Castle doesn't have that. I'm just saying that there is a reason year 4 and 5 Kobe started getting listened more organizational wise than a Shaq, who was the most dominant player the NBA has ever seen, right? they started to side with Kobe as he got into year 4 and year 5 on matters of team issues.
And people
Yeah.
forget about that. I mean, I'm looking at Kobe's stats coming into the league. The first 150 games he played, he only started 7 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So he was a bench player. The year 3, which we're doing the comparison of year 3 Kobe to year 2 Castle, because again, Castle had 1 year of college played. It was a strike shortened season, and Kobe played all 50 games, and he started all 50 games, and he averaged, let's see here, he averaged 19.9 points per game. And he was a good player. He hadn't gotten to his powers yet. You know, he blossomed in year 4 of the league, right?
Yeah.
So that's what.
Speaking of powers, we got to address some of these super chats because we're getting stacked up here.
Money talk. Here comes the money.
So this is from Safe Space Invader. Thank you, man. We appreciate the $2 super chat.
Yeah,
He
it's his
says he's
injury
referring
managed.
to,
Like,
Wemby.
he basically wants to use his injury managed against the Wiz, bad load management. I understand that. Remember when Pop would bench players that were nationally televised
Oh,
games that everyone
man.
was waiting for?
What was that
And-
one that he did, Mike? Remember when he sent like Timmy and I think it was Tony and Manu back home, and they were caught eating Chick-fil-A over there at the airport? Remember that?
The league changed the rules after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Safe Space Invaders coming out and saying, consider the fans a little bit. That's a super chat that he has. Thank you so much for that super chat. I get that. I don't know about the funeral thing that happened with Wemby's grandmother. Because if Wemby went out to France, you have to sit him. Even though you're saying calf, this and the other, you have to sit him, dude. I mean, that's for those who've never made that trip, even in first class or private jet or whatever, that is and then the jet lag involved with it all. Why would you want to have your player go out, your best player go out there and play when there's a heightened chance of getting hurt? Because he didn't just do that flight and then want to play. He'd do the flight and come back. So that's 2 days of constant travel, plus the emotions of it all. Just sit him down today. Just let him get ready for that Christmas game on. Is that on Peacock? Is that where we're watching that game on, Joe?
Yeah, I believe so. It's coming out on the Peacock.
Or is it
network.
Amazon?
One of the two. It's either Peacock or Amazon. I got to say though, if you haven't watched the games, the NBA games on Amazon, they look really good. They have a good announcing crew. It's a really well polished product, man. It's really good.
Mike,
Really
I'm
good.
so glad that we've moved away from the days of Shaq and Kenny and Charles and Eddie. That was some bad TV, man. That was awful TV.
Gosh.
Listen, I used to love it. I can't lie to you. I used to love it because I used to laugh the whole time.
Have you been watching Dirk and Nash and Blake Griffin?
I've seen them a little bit, not as much, and I unfortunately with the family around when I'm trying to watch it, the volume's usually real low.
I didn't realize how good Blake Griffin was as an analyst.
Oh, he's funny and he knows the game.
He is amazing. And by the way, Blake Griffin was fantastic on the Comedy Central's roasts when he was out there doing some comedy, some stand-up comedy. That was really good, man. Really, really good. Let's talk about yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to ask a question though, because our title here was basically, do the Spurs have one of the best backcourts in the NBA? And I was talking with Mike Mitchell here before we started the show, and I was telling him, arguably, we got to start really giving some love to these players in particular, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper. This backcourt is not getting a lot of attention. Here it is, and they're starting to go ahead and be looked upon by the national media, and they're talking about them, but they're not going ahead and telling the like say the fans, the San Antonio Spurs have one of the best backcourts in the NBA right now. And that's something that I think is kind of a disrespectful in a way, because the Spurs are really ahead of schedule. You would not have told me you're going to run it back that the Spurs last year compared to this year would be the number 2 seed in the Western Conference. They would beat OKC head to head. This is a different type of team. They have a different type of mentality. And a lot of that has to do with how well De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper have played in the absence of one Victor Wembanyama. I think Wemby getting hurt was one of the best things that could have happened to this team early on, because it got to showcase what the other pieces are capable of. and they're really good. So I wanted to get Mike Mitchell's take here. I mean, what do you think? The Spurs, do they right now have one of the best backcourts in all of the NBA?
I believe so. Right, when you're taking out somebody from the lineup, whether it's Castle or Fox, and you're putting Harper in the lineup, who as a rookie has already shown that he can handle clutch situations, can win a game in the stretch, can put up 20 or 30 points if given the opportunity, right, and then can manage the team. And by the way, he's shown his ability to pass too, right? Came in knowing he could score, but he's shown his ability to be able to pass at the NBA level. Um, we definitely have one of the better backcourts in the NBA. I felt that Fox trade was tremendous. You didn't have to give up much to get him. I knew his hand was injured a little bit last year. Knew he'd come back better this year. And by the way, he's not still fully integrated into the team yet. He's still figuring things out as he's playing. So he there's some more upside left in him. I think you do have to start looking at the Spurs as having one of the best complete back courts in the entire league.
And the other thing I was going to ask you is the best signing that the Spurs have made in this offseason was no doubt, 100%, no doubt in my mind, was Luke Cornett. Luke Cornett has been so instrumental to this team's success this season. If it wasn't for Luke Cornett, the Spurs record could be going in the opposite direction. It's a testament to show what happens when you have a true backup center, somebody who can play that center position and play it well. I mean, he's been playing so good that he's the starter for right now, right? As Wemby starts getting his conditioning and whatnot under him. But the Spurs haven't missed a beat. Yes, they are a great team with Wemby, but they're also pretty darn good with Luke Cornett out there on the court doing his shenanigans and his antics. Like he's really good and does all these little things that go unnoticed that a center, I guess, doesn't get credit for. Going out there and getting these 50-50 balls, rebounds, also setting little picks and, boxing people out underneath the paint, and being able to find the open man. I mean, Luke Cornett, he's a really good vet. He's a really good piece with this Spurs team. And I don't think they could have found anybody that would have fit any more, let's say, perfect than Luke Cornett at this point in time. I think he's the unsung hero for the season. And all the fans seem to love him. They have shirts of him going out there and doing his, that little stance that he did when he had that block at the end of the game. And he's just a fun guy, man. You just can't help but love him and love his energy. I mean, what have you thought about Luke Cornett?
Well, I agree with you. He was their best offseason signing, no doubt about it. A thing I saw it on one of the shows, and it's a stat that they probably, I know the advanced analytics track it, but altering shots coming to the basket, being able to anchor defense. He doesn't have the numbers block wise that Wemby has, but when you start looking at changing what players are doing as they come to the basket, guys are starting to look for Luke when they're going to the basket to make sure he's not there defensively, which is a testament to how he fits in. He rebounds the ball, runs the court for as big as he is, and then he knows his role. He's not stepping out trying to shoot from everywhere. He's setting strong picks. He's rolling to the basket. When they do isolate him down there on the block, he's taking his time, making sure to get what he wants to get out of the play. He has been a huge impact. And one of the things that I love that I hope we see more of it when he comes back, when you play those two guys, Wemby and Luke at the same time, it starts giving me visions, not same talent-wise all the way, but it starts giving me that Twin Towers kind of David and Tim back when they play. It becomes who can get a shot off anywhere within 15 feet of the basket, and then what are you going to do on the opposite end? Because as soon as you go to help out, one of them is going to clean it up, and you're not helping off of Wemby.
Have you noticed this one give and go that they have really good right now? This is a really good combo. Castle and Cornett seems like they're playing well together. Castle just seems to find Cornett, give him the ball. It's an easy dunk. And he does this in transition sometime. It's like effortless, between the two. I think that's a real thing. It's like a real connection that they got on the court. Like they're just able to read each other. And he's like, oh, he's going to roll to the basket, dishes him the ball, boom, slam dunk. And he's making Cornett look good because Cornett's not a very athletic guy out there, but you get him the ball in the right position, he's going to go and dunk it. And, I like that. I like that little, combo, that little tandem we have right there.
Yeah, they look like they've been playing together for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, Castle. You mentioned Castle with the big elote, right? But then you see
Yeah.
Harper with Wemby. You just get a little bit of a synergy involved when it comes to some of these players. But we have some breaking news. It's not breaking news, but it's breaking stats for me. Getting involved with the betting lines when it comes to the Spurs and their updated win total, projected win total by FanDuel. We're going to get into that on the other side. Also, we're going to have a giveaway opportunity how you can land yourself an HEB gift card by being an Area 2 podcast listener. Let's give some love to PF Chang's La Cantera. You already are, Joe, with the hat.
Yeah. PF Chang's La Cantera, San Antonio's premier destination for dinner, date night, or happy hour. Enjoy one of their signature dishes, such as the Singapore street noodles, sesame chicken, or Chang's spicy chicken, or their infamous Chang's chicken lettuce wraps, which are delicious, by the way. You can enjoy all this while you're dining in an Asian-inspired atmosphere. And make sure to enjoy the new outdoor patio and try some of PF Chang's signature cocktails and drinks during happy hour, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. PF Chang's La Cantera is a proud sponsor of the Area 210 podcast.
That's right. We're all good friends with Sean Quintero over there at PF Chang's La Cantera. He helps us out. He powers the chat according to with his company there, PF Chang's La Cantera. Go visit Sean. Doing your last minute Christmas shopping at La Cantera, go get some lettuce wraps because, as Joe says, they're delicious. By the way, love
And
it.
speaking of lettuce wraps and trying to get healthy, what is this new thing that you've come up with, Mike, to go ahead and give away this $100 gift card?
Okay, so we have fans of the show, listeners of the show, who will sometimes donate things for us to give away, right? And we've been holding on to these gift cards at HEB. We have a couple of them for $100, right? And I know that it's the beginning of the year, and a lot of us have the desire to be healthier, right? You have those New Year's resolutions. So maybe we do a weight loss challenge, Joe. What do you think, Joe? Whoever
Yeah, that
loses the
reminds
most
me.
amount of weight
Are we gonna play
gets
the
the
music
gift
like
card
from Rocky?
Rocky.
Getting
Getting
stronger.
So here's how we can here's how we do this, Joe. I want there to be two winners, right? Maybe a 50-50 $50 gift card, $50 gift card, or maybe two $100 gift cards. Either way. There's an app called Map My Run that you can get on your iPhone. You can get it on your Android, and you can go for walks or jogs or whatever the case may be. And maybe we just whoever signs up, so I can set that up. Just send me a DM or send me a text or whatever, and we'll put together an Area 210 running group or walking group. Right? It's not those Fitbit things where it's like, okay, well, I did 12,000 steps a day. No, it's specifically going out and saying I'm going for a walk or a run that day. You're right.
Yeah.
And maybe we add up. It'll add up part of your group the most number of or Handle Fitness uses the Nike Run app. We will challenge each other to see who can do the most miles of walking or running for the month of January. Okay, and then we'll do a weight loss thing as well along the way. Joe, what do you think, man? What do you think?
No, I like it. I like where it's going because everybody's trying to get in that health kick. And I'm starting to do that as well. Like I said, I got a rowing machine now, and I also won this treadmill that you put under the desk, right? And I was looking to get one anyway because you can put it right under the desk and you can just slide it out. So I was like, you know what? In between, like when I'm taking calls and doing stuff for work, and there's might be a 30-minute gap or a 15-minute gap there, why not just go ahead and get on the treadmill and start moving? Get your body in motion, start putting in those miles, start burning some calories, eating better, drinking more water, doing little things like that. It all adds up at the end of the day, and that helps you get healthier. I'm getting
Yeah.
older. I can't have all those impacts on my joints like I used to when I was younger, but I can go ahead and do things that are gonna help me get better and get me healthier, like moving and doing these things in between when you're just sitting there. Otherwise, you just be sitting there on the chair. And I mean, I stand up every now and then, so I won't have my back hurting or my knees hurting. But actually walking in between calls, I think that's huge. It's going to help me lose a lot of weight, I think, for this next year, as long as I keep myself in motion. And I
Yeah,
think
Joe.
the listeners, if they can do that as well, and just keep your body going, eating healthier, drinking more water, every little thing you do out there will help you live a healthier lifestyle.
Mira, Joe, we're gonna have the best looking listener base Better looking listener base than in the building with Rudy J and
Look at Mario
Mike Taylor.
Cavazos. Instead of eating 2 tacos, start eating 1. How about no taco? Just eat the stuff inside the taco. Don't
So,
eat the tortilla.
but here's the thing. The reason why I bring up Map My Walk is because you can actually put together a group. So if the Nike app or Strava, I believe is the other one, Strava,
Yeah.
if they work better, as long as we can all as a group do it together, where it's not like 20 different apps going individually. No, we have to have a centralized, kind of like fantasy football, a centralized hub where it's keeping score of what we're doing. And it's not the whole idea of, well, I did 15,000 steps because I work in a warehouse. No, you have to specifically say that you're going for a walk, right? Some of us work office
Yeah.
jobs, right? That we're going to go for a walk. We're going to be out and about. So we'll get it going in the next week or so, Joe, and make that happen. The FanDuel. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. FanDuel just revised its number of games each team is supposed to win.
Yeah.
They didn't give the Spurs an exact number, but they did it in group segments, right? So when the season started, Mike, the Spurs were expected to win 46 games. That was the over-under. Then it moved up to 48. And it moved up to 50. And I made a tweet out there a couple of days ago that the Spurs at 20-7 at the time, to 21-7 now, were on pace 1/3 of the season through to be a 60-win team. And I was like, no. I'm on FanDuel right now. The Spurs have minus 130 odds to win 55 games, which means that FanDuel believes that there's a 56% chance or greater that the Spurs will be north of 55 wins this year. That is unreal. Considering the fact that we missed 12 games without Wemby. We had Fox didn't start the season. Harper didn't start the season. Castle was hurt. You have a bunch of new players in there, and you have essentially a rookie coach who has brought together his own coaching staff. I know he coached last year, but that was Pop's team. This is his team. All of that being said, 55 plus? Mike, what world are we living in, man?
I remember at the beginning, before the season started, being like, if they can just stay out of the play-in tournament, that'd be a super accomplishment now.
Right.
I remember feeling that way. Like, we just want them to get right over that threshold. And now I'm like, can they stay in the second seed? Like, I know Houston out there is playing well. LA is out there. And I'm like, can they stay it? Now it's starting to shift into expectation. Like, I don't think, I'm scared to say 55, but I'm definitely, I'd be surprised if they don't win 50 games at this point. The way that they've been able to kind of maneuver the beginning of the season, make it through with the injuries they've had, and still have yet to play their best basketball, in my belief. I don't think it's past the realm to say in that 50 to 60 range. I think that's going to become the expectation on this team.
They're almost there. If they beat OKC, right? These next two times that they meet them on the 23rd and the 25th. They have 17 wins under their belt for the season, right? Something like that. They could easily have 18 and 19 against OKC if they're able to beat them back to back. Then you're coming into the new year. You get a couple more wins under your belt. If they're at 25 wins early on in the month of January, they're more than halfway there.
Yeah.
Like, that's scary. Scary to think about. And this is before the All-Star break even hits, where teams go off. And by then, you're already at least 3/4 of the way into the season. They're like, this is the midway point of the season. No, it's not. You're already 3/4 of the way there. You're talking about playoffs at that point. But to me, this is the way that I see the Spurs team, since they're so far ahead of schedule. Second in the West right now, looking really good. Everything's starting to gel and click together. Some of these players are ahead of schedule. It's not out of the realm of possibility to me. If you see this team go as far, even though they're unexperienced, they don't have playoff experience. They're too young. The same thing was said about OKC, and they're the champions, right? They won a chip. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility if you see this San Antonio Spurs team exceed expectations and be right there in the Western Conference Finals against who? OKC. If that happened, I would say that OKC has a little bit more playoff experience and you would expect them to win. But if San Antonio can be a scary good team and get far into those playoffs and match up against OKC, that could be a 6 or 7 game series. And that would be, I mean, lights out, one of the best series that we've ever seen when it comes to playoff, basketball. Everyone would love to see that matchup in the postseason.
It's what the fans want, which is weird
Yeah.
because the Spurs have never been must-watch TV, but the Ringer has the Spurs ranked as one of the 4 teams in the NBA that are must-watch on every game. That they're the fun team to watch. And it's weird to be on that side because it used to be the Spurs are the boring team. And
Yeah.
now, no, the Spurs are the exciting team. By the way, you asked about the odds of them getting 50 wins. It's minus 750. I put that in the betting calculator. That means Vegas believes there's an 88.24% chance that the Spurs win 50 games this year.
Yeah. Hey,
8
we
and
do got
9.
an incoming super chat we got to address, Mike. This is a big one for us, too.
Money talks. Here comes the money.
Black Bucket 20.
Black
giving us a
Bucket in the
$10.
house. He says, props to the Area 210 pod. Make San Antonio healthy again. Masaha. Is that how you we're Masaha. Make San Antonio healthy again. So, yeah, again, we're going to have to pick you know what? And I don't care if you're using Nike. Then use another one. Whatever we choose. I like Map My Walk or Map My Run, whatever the case may be. We could put a group together, a pod together of people who are going to go walking. And we get to be on each other's ass when it comes to accountability partners, when it comes to it all. And we have gift cards to give away, right? And we can all get together for lettuce wraps at PF Chang's, right?
And if you want to get
Everybody
together
thank
for
you
lettuce
for
wraps,
that.
what do you got to do? Got to make more money. If you want to make more money, who you got to call?
You got to give me a call, number 210-508-0369. Mike Mitchell has yet to send me a referral, but I'm waiting. 210-508-0369. I am working today. It's going to be my last day of work for pretty much the rest of the year. I'll work a little bit next week, but yeah, man, it was a very good year for my financial practice. I help people with retirement planning. I help people with investments and things like that. We had a milestone with my business. I crossed over $25 million invested. So you add up all my clients and was at zero, started at zero, now back now to 25 million. It's amazing last couple of years. 210-508-0369, 210-508-0369. Give me a call. If you have life insurance needs, disability, long-term care, give me a call. 210-508-0369. And if you know a financial advisor, you're like, hey, I already have a guy who's a financial advisor. Let me know who they are so I can hire them or give them a higher pay scale because I have the ability to do so. Because when it comes to finance in San Antonio, I'm kind of a badass. Let's make this happen. 210-508-0369. Real fast, I want to get to some NFL talk before we wrap things up. Dude, what a great weekend of football games there was this past weekend. And all these people complain about the college football playoff because James Madison got their ass handed to them by Oregon, and you saw Tulane get demolished by Ole Miss. All I got to say is, Longhorn fans, quit crying, man. It's been weeks since you guys got passed over by the college football playoff committee. And on top of that, you weren't even number 11 or 12 on the list, man. Notre Dame had a better chance of going in there than you guys did. There were other teams in line above Texas. Texas fan right now, the biggest crybaby in college football right now, Notre Dame fan. Notre Dame, because they decided not to be in a bowl game. But number 2 biggest crybaby right now is still UT fan. It's unbecoming. Let's go cheer for Texas Tech, right? They're the quarterfinals because they have the bye. They're the number 4 seed. Now we have the final 8 teams, and it's good, man. This is where I hate the fact that there's 12 teams that get into this playoff. Really, there should only be 6. But there's 12 teams that go in there, and then everyone's like all pissed off because James Madison and Tulane made it. Win your division. Win your division. Or win your conference. Or be in the top 5 of your conference, Texas. Longhorn fans, you want to be in the playoff? Maybe finish in the top 5 of your conference. Why would we want to see SEC teams have 6 teams in there? Makes no sense. But Joe, the Cowboys, that 0.5% chance.
Oh, they were left for dead already when they lost to Minnesota. They lost to the Chargers. Even before then, they just started losing. They can't seem to win. They were fool's gold, Mike.
They
hoodwinked me. They hoodwinked me.
But what do you think about Jerry Jones kind of finally saying that he's part of the problem?
Well, what did you say? Omission is just what 95% of the problem, right?
Oh, no. They say in order to solve a problem or get over something, you need to admit that there is a problem.
There is a problem. So Jerry is 95% of that problem. The other 5% is trying to go ahead and get good players out there on the field. And
Yeah.
let's face it, man, when you look at this Cowboys secondary and you're looking at that defense out there, that's not doing you any favors. When you have one of the best offenses in all of the NFL, Dak had a great season, a wasted season at this point. Because why? Because Jerry waited too long to do anything to solidify that defensive, let's say, defensive holes that they have, right?
And the hole's still there.
It's still there. And the thing is, you can go to the NFL draft and you can try to go ahead and maybe get a corner, try to do something there to help with those needs that you have. But ultimately, what are you going to do in the offseason? I mean, they should start thinking about that now. And as soon as that season ends, players are becoming available. You should start picking up that phone and calling. Who are we going to trade? What are we going to get rid of? Because we need to get this guy. We need to get that guy. We need to go ahead and address this issue when it comes to defense, because the Cowboys have the opposite problem that a lot of other teams have.
But
You
the
look
weird
at the
thing
Houston
is,
Texans.
yeah,
The Houston Texans, for example, Mike, their offense isn't nearly as good as the Dallas Cowboys. But the problem with Houston is they have a good issue to have, because why? They have such a great defense that defense can actually carry the offense. You just have to be okay or serviceable, put up maybe 17, 20 points, if at that, to go ahead and beat the opposing team, because the defense can hold teams under, 17 points or whatnot.
well, let's make the comparison between the Cowboys and the Texans, right? The Cowboys out of the playoffs. Texans are 10-5. They've won 7 in a row, Joe. But they can't get over Jacksonville because Jacksonville's won 6 in a row. And they're one
Yeah.
game behind Jacksonville right now in the AFC South. But let's see if that's true, Joe. Dallas put up 424 points this year. They're 6-8-1, right? 424 points. Is that better than Houston? Houston scored 346. My math says that's about a 24 plus 54. That's a 78-point difference, right?
Yeah.
But in points given up, Dallas gave up 454 points so far this year. The Texans have given up 249. Almost 200 fewer points given up by that Texans defense compared to the Dallas Cowboys. And that is it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's crazy that the Houston Texans given up 200 fewer points than the Cowboys. Remarkable. But if the season ended right now, how excited would we be for this? Because a lot of teams have not made there's 10 teams that have qualified for the playoffs already. The Denver Broncos have the 1 seed. They'd have a bye in week 1. New England clinched a playoff berth. They're number 2 right now. They would take on the Houston Texans in the first round of the playoffs. So Texans going to New England would be their prize for being the number 7 spot.
New England's my dark horse, man. I even said that before the season even started. I said, New England, y'all got to watch out for that team. And what happened? Sure enough, look what happened. New England is a really good, scary team that nobody wants to see in the playoffs. I think they might actually be able to surprise the Houston Texans here.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think it'd be a surprise. New England would be home. Yeah. But I look at the playoffs, Joe. I like seeds 5, 6, and 7 more than 2, 3, and 4. Because I believe Texans could go into New England and beat the Patriots. I believe that the Buffalo Bills could go into Jacksonville and beat the Jaguars. And I believe the Chargers could go into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers. Give me all 3 underdogs.
Oh, man. Don't ever bet on the Chargers, bro. They are fool's gold, man. Every time they get a chance to prove themselves, they fold.
Well, I mean, I understand, but you're going up against a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers who's out there fighting for his life out there. That Steelers team sucks. 1 seed in the NFC is Seattle. You'd have a matchup. Jeez, it'd be the Bears against the Packers in round 1. I know the Bears beat the Packers a couple weeks ago, but I still believe the Packers own them. The 3-6 matchup would be the Rams and the Eagles, and then you'd have the Niners taking on Carolina. Dude, these are
how fitting would it be for the Eagles to get bounced early, dude?
I know that's who you're cheering for. What you're cheering for, though. But Mike, who are the teams you're looking at right now in the NFL? You're thinking to yourself,
he's an Eagles fan, isn't he?
These are tasty. You're an Eagles fan?
Not at all.
Oh, that's right. You're a Cowboy fan.
Not a Cowboys fan either.
Oh, wait,
I'm a
what are you?
Falcons fan. My team
Falcons.
has been eliminated for the last few weeks. They were eliminated pretty much at the beginning of the season, so I haven't had much to cheer for. But I'm looking at the Rams as a team that could really do something if they can get past that cold weather game. If they have to go to play the Eagles, I just think that they've got enough playmakers on defense. They've got that bend but don't break most of the time. Most of the time, there have been a few games this year, but Matthew Stafford. I saw a little report. I read something where his wife was saying this is the first time in years that he's been healthy. The way that he can move that team up and down the field, and then like he doesn't have a plethora of big names out there, catching the passes, but then he's got the running game. I didn't even know that how well their running game is till I start watching the last few years. They're just effective enough where they can slow the game down, they can run it enough, and then his arm can carry you. And then you've got Puka on the outside. Just, I mean, what's his last 3 games? I think he's gone over 150 yards every game, something ridiculous like that. So I think that they're a team that could really do some damage in the playoffs. It's hard to see. I do love this year for the first time. I don't see like clear cut in any division, right? I don't say even if they're the number 1 seed, I don't feel like they just dominating. Or you just like, okay, we can book them into the championship game or into the Super Bowl. I just don't see that team this year. So I'm just really excited for the playoffs overall.
Your Falcons with no first round draft picks this year.
Yeah, I know. just adding to that.
Meantime, the Saints are doing tanking the wrong way. They've won 3 in a row. They were the number 1 seed in the draft 3 weeks ago, have dropped all the way to number 8. Tankathon has them taking Jeremiah Love, the running back from Notre Dame. I mean,
Look at Joy.
you got to replace Alvin Kamara at some point.
Look what he says. What's the Chargers record, Joe? Scoreboard. Cry harder. You're going to be the one crying harder, ho, when your team goes home. I want to see it. Keep that same energy.
That's right. You can't use the phrase cry harder without using the word ho at the end.
Yeah.
So,
that's the thing that I always tell you all the time in the chat. Cry harder, ho. Every time your team loses, keep that same energy.
Cowboys are currently at the 13 and 21 spot in the draft. Tankathon has them taking Kendrick Falk, an edge rusher out of Auburn, with a 13th spot, and 21 taking CJ Allen, linebacker from Georgia. Taking some SEC guys to plug some holes defensively would be really, really good. We're going to wrap up the show. We have one last super chat though from Sam Salinas.
Money talk. Here comes the money.
Going back to Spurs talk, saying, hold on. Spurs are doing great, but we're jumping the gun here, especially from this show, who said the season isn't starting until 2 days from now. That's the old adage when it comes to the NBA, which is the season doesn't really start till Christmas. So I understand. So for that, Joe, you and I both get the flip-flop. We get the chancla.
The chancla? Are you serious? You want to put the chancla? All right. And we also have one more super chat as we start exiting the show here. This one's from Tex Mex Frank.
Here comes the money.
Thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, Jerry Jones, every time he is told to get a real GM, play the sick man, old man clip. That's Jerry. In other words, that's Jerry Jones when they tell him you got to get somebody, dude, that knows what they're doing.
Todos me pegan toda la pura verga. Me trepan a la verga. Mira.
Then some fighting words. Again, I remember the reporter that one time asked Jerry Jones if he had hired somebody to be GM and had the same track record that Jerry Jones had, would he have fired him? And Jerry was pissed when it was phrased that way. But it is what it is. Spurs in action tonight, 7:30 tip-off. I have no idea what channel it's on, but it's not going to be on national TV. But the national televised game is going to be Christmas Day against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So we got back-to-back games. Spurs favored to lose tonight by 5.5 points. Wemby, a game-time decision. We have 5 players who are game-time decisions for the Oklahoma City Thunder, so we don't know what's going to happen in this game. But everyone, have a fantastic Christmas, a Merry Christmas. Be safe on the roads, or if you're traveling out and about, be nice on the roads, be safe on the roads. Mike, I hope you have a fantastic Christmas. I hope you have a great time with your family and friends. And Joe, Thank you for everything that you do, Joe, with this show.
Yeah.
And the show, you're the heart and soul of the show. I'm the jester. I'm the clown of the show. I get it. I know my role.
The payaso. Oh,
But
my God.
everyone have a Merry Christmas. We're gonna be back next week, Joe? On
We're
Monday?
gonna be back. I'm gonna go all the way until on Friday, dude. I'm gonna go ahead and do Christmas Eve, which is tomorrow. Then we're gonna go the day after Christmas. We have a lot to talk about on the day after Christmas. I know you might not be here, but I will be, because you're gonna have Spurs basketball to talk about, right? You're gonna have the game that just occurred there on Christmas Day. You're gonna have NFL talk. There's a lot of things going on, and then we have the college football playoffs coming up too. So there's some things to be had there. It might
Okay,
be
so
a shorter show.
the show must go on. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I
show's
might be able
going
to,
on.
I might be able to jump in for a segment, but I'll be on back full force on Monday. Okay.
Yeah, but we will be taking the week off after Christmas, because
Oh, okay.
we need to spend some time with our families too. So our last show for the year is going to be on the 26th. We are not coming back until the 5th, Mike, because we know what, we need to spend time with our families
Well,
and
damn.
just celebrate, man.
Thanks for the vacay, Joe.
Take the week off. Cuddles with Chica, Mike.
Cuddles with Chica incoming. Everyone have a fantastic day, fantastic Christmas, Merry Christmas, everybody, and the show will be back tomorrow.
All right, we'll see you boys. Have a good one. And again, thank you, Mike, for joining us. We appreciate you.